The following presentation is designed strictly for educational and entertainment purposes and does not constitute formal business, marketing, financial, or legal advice. The strategies, case studies, and historical trends discussed regarding social media management, content scheduling, and audience engagement are based on publicly available data, historical market behavior within the United States, and general industry practices as of the time of recording. Because social media algorithms, platform terms of service, and digital marketing regulations are subject to rapid, unannounced changes, you must conduct your own independent due diligence before implementing any operational shifts in your business or personal brand. Past performance or historical trends of the case studies mentioned do not serve as an indicator of future results. There are no guarantees or promises of increased revenue, follower growth, or algorithmic virality. Viewers are solely responsible for their own strategic decisions, and it is highly recommended to consult with certified marketing professionals, legal counsel, or financial advisors regarding your specific corporate or individual circumstances before launching major digital campaigns. What if I told you that waking up every morning and asking yourself, "What should I post today?" is the exact reason your business is quietly bleeding thousands of dollars in untapped revenue, and why you are actively training the algorithm to suppress your reach? It sounds entirely counterintuitive to the modern creator ethos. We are constantly taught that social media is all about spontaneity, capturing the raw moment, and being perfectly authentic in real time. But the hard data tells a terrifyingly different story, especially right here in the highly saturated, hyper-competitive United States digital market. Recent historical trends indicate that out of the millions of American small businesses, independent creators, and corporate marketing teams attempting to build a profitable digital audience, an overwhelming majority face severe operational burnout within their first 8 months of consistent posting. They do not fail because their foundational product is bad. They do not fail because they lack charisma or inherent value. They fail because they treat content creation like a daily, unpredictable emergency, rather than a predictable, engineered, and highly structured system. Think about the golden era of American broadcast television. Major networks did not wake up on a Thursday morning, look around the studio, and suddenly decide what sitcom to air at 8 o'clock that night. They operated on incredibly rigorous, meticulously planned programming grids that were mapped out months, if not years, in advance. They understood the concept of appointment viewing, analyzing exactly when their target demographic was sitting on the couch, what emotional state they were in, and precisely what type of narrative would keep them from changing the channel. Yet, when modern businesses approach platforms like YouTube, LinkedIn, or Instagram, which are essentially the new global television networks, they completely abandon this proven historical model of structured programming. They rely on erratic bursts of motivation instead of disciplined publishing schedules. Let me share a brief case study that perfectly illustrates this unseen trap. Consider a mid-sized e-commerce brand based out of Austin, Texas, that was attempting to aggressively scale operations during a massive fourth-quarter retail push. They had an incredible high-quality product line, a very healthy advertising budget, and a deeply dedicated internal team. However, their social media approach was entirely reactive and entirely chaotic. They chased whatever trending audio was temporarily popular that morning, hastily threw together low-resolution graphics in a panic, and posted sporadically whenever the founder had a spare 5 minutes between investor meetings. The potential outcomes of this chaotic, unstructured approach quickly became a harsh operational reality. Their engagement metrics completely flatlined, their cost per customer acquisition skyrocketed because organic free reach was practically non-existent, and the internal marketing team was deeply fractured by constant, daily stress and the looming pressure of the blank page. They were working incredibly hard, putting in 70-hour weeks, but they were essentially running at full speed on a treadmill going absolutely nowhere. Now, contrast that devastating scenario with what happened when they finally paused and implemented the exact architectural framework we are about to discuss today. By shifting from a reactive, daily scramble to a proactive, tightly structured content calendar built specifically to leverage the unique nuances of the American consumer cycle, their entire business trajectory shifted. But what was the specific architectural shift they made to achieve this? What was the exact 3-tier calendar matrix that took them from algorithmic obscurity to dominating their niche market without spending a single extra dime on paid advertising? I am going to reveal that exact framework step by step later in this video. If you missed that specific matrix and the psychology behind it, every hour you spend filming, writing, and editing is essentially being thrown into the algorithmic void. You absolutely need to understand how the invisible clockwork of social platforms operates beneath the surface, and how you can manipulate your own publishing schedule to perfectly align with those hidden mechanical gears. This is precisely why we are embarking on this deep dive masterclass together. Today, we are not just going to talk about throwing a few random post ideas onto a generic spreadsheet and hoping for the best. That superficial era of digital marketing is officially dead and buried. Instead, I am going to walk you through exactly how to build a social media content calendar from absolute scratch, heavily customized for the complex United States digital ecosystem. This is about establishing a literal fortress of predictability around your brand. The ultimate problem this solves for you today is the total elimination of creative fatigue, the eradication of posting anxiety, and the end of operational chaos. For the American entrepreneur, the US-based freelancer, or the local brick-and-mortar store owner trying to capture regional attention, time is your absolute most precious commodity. You are dealing with a massively fragmented audience spread across 4 distinct time zones. You are navigating shifting consumer habits, intense holiday buying cycles like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, seasonal transitions, and an audience whose attention span is fiercely and continuously contested by billion-dollar corporate marketing budgets. You cannot afford to guess what your audience wants to see today. By the end of this comprehensive presentation, you will have a highly tactical, actionable blueprint that transforms your entire digital presence from a source of daily dread into a fully automated strategic asset that runs smoothly in the background while you focus on actually running your business. We are going to meticulously dissect the anatomy of a truly effective, enterprise-grade content calendar. This means breaking down exactly how to conduct a thorough historical content audit, so you understand precisely what formats, topics, and styles historically perform well for your specific industry. We will explore how to establish core content pillars, the foundational load-bearing walls of your brand messaging that ensure you literally never run out of relevant, highly engaging topics to discuss. You will learn how to map out macro themes for the entire calendar year, taking into account crucial U.S. consumer behavior patterns, specific retail seasons, cultural touchpoints, and localized events that naturally drive massive spikes in organic traffic. Furthermore, we will dive deeply into the microscheduling strategies that separate amateur creators from industry leaders. This involves understanding the distinct psychological differences between posting a highly technical, data-driven infographic on a Tuesday morning for East Coast corporate commuters versus posting a casual, behind-the-scenes video on a Sunday evening for West Coast users winding down their weekend. We will cover the specific software tools, the precise approval workflows, and the highly efficient batch creation techniques that allow you to produce an entire month's worth of high-quality, targeted content in a single focused afternoon. This is about reclaiming your schedule, significantly reducing your stress levels, and putting your audience growth on a predictable, historically proven trajectory. You are about to learn the exact systems utilized by top-tier marketing agencies in New York and Los Angeles to manage dozens of demanding clients simultaneously without breaking a sweat or missing a single post. It is time to stop playing the social media lottery, stop relying on fleeting bursts of inspiration, and start building a sustainable, data-driven content engine that consistently delivers measurable results. The very first step you must take is building the foundational architecture required before a single date is ever selected on your scheduling software. The single biggest operational mistake creators and corporate teams make when opening a blank content calendar is immediately asking what format they should use today, rather than what core foundational message they need to convey this quarter. You cannot schedule a void. Before you even think about planning for specific days of the week, you must establish your primary content pillars. Think of content pillars as the specific, non-negotiable categories of information that your brand will consistently communicate to the marketplace. Imagine if you were constructing a massive commercial skyscraper in the middle of downtown Chicago. You would never start ordering the aesthetic glass for the external windows before the deeply anchored steel foundation was poured into the bedrock. Yet, millions of digital entrepreneurs do exactly this every single day across America. They order the glass by hastily filming random trending videos, but they have zero structural steel to hold those videos up when the platform algorithms inevitably shift their distribution models. This sheer lack of architectural integrity is the exact reason why so many accounts completely stagnate after an initial burst of minor success. To truly understand the sheer operational power of establishing content pillars, we need to analyze a highly relevant case study from right here in 2026. Consider a digital entrepreneur named Marcus who operates a specialized outdoor gear manufacturing company based in Portland, Oregon. Earlier this year, Marcus was experiencing profound creative exhaustion. His existing social media calendar was a completely chaotic mess of spontaneous product photos, random industry memes he found mildly amusing, and aggressively desperate sales pitches trying to meet quarterly quotas. His historical data trends showed a massive, sustained drop in engagement every single time he posted because the platform algorithm had absolutely no concrete idea who to show his content to. He was actively confusing the machine learning models by sending mixed signals about his core identity. Realizing this, Marcus completely halted his posting schedule for an entire week and engineered 4 distinct content pillars based on extensive, ruthless audience auditing. Pillar 1 was Pacific Northwest Survival Education, focusing entirely on pure, high-value tactical survival skills for extreme weather. Pillar 2 was Materials Science Breakdown, where he transparently showed the deep engineering and fabric testing behind his expensive gear. Pillar 3 was Local Community Spotlights, featuring everyday regional customers actually using his equipment during severe winter storms in the Cascade Mountains. And finally, Pillar 4 was composed of direct, scarcity-based promotional offers reserved strictly for new product launches. Notice precisely what Marcus chose not to do during this restructuring phase. He did not make a foundational pillar out of dancing to trending audio tracks, and he absolutely did not make a pillar out of sharing his personal political opinions or random lifestyle vlogs. He stayed radically and obsessively focused on his specific market sector. The potential outcomes of this hyper-focused pillar strategy were structurally profound. By clearly defining these 4 specific lanes of communication, Marcus completely eliminated the daily friction of creative ideation. When it was time to physically fill his empty content calendar for the upcoming month, he was no longer staring at a blank screen wondering what to say to the internet. He simply looked at his pillar framework and asked his team which of the 4 structural columns needed to be reinforced that specific week. This deliberate transition from reactive guessing to proactive, categorized planning is the fundamental dividing line between amateur digital hobbyists and professional media operators in today's highly competitive landscape. Let us break down exactly how you can extract and finalize your own content pillars today, specifically tailoring them to the modern United States consumer base. The American consumer in 2026 is experiencing extreme digital fatigue and unprecedented attention fragmentation. They are relentlessly bombarded with tens of thousands of conflicting marketing messages from the exact moment they check their phone in bed to the moment they finally turn off their screens at night. They subconsciously crave absolute predictability and categorical authority from the brands they choose to follow. To figure out exactly what your unique pillars should be, you must perform a ruthless historical content audit of your own past performance, combined with a deep competitor gap analysis. This means physically exporting your last 12 months of digital analytics data across all active platforms into a raw, unfiltered spreadsheet. You are specifically looking for statistical anomalies in the data sets. Which specific industry topics generated the highest sustained watch time? Which specific educational videos resulted in the absolute highest number of saves and direct shares? You must train yourself to completely ignore vanity metrics like simple likes or generic comments. A like is a highly passive, low-friction action that requires zero intellectual investment from the consumer. A save or a direct message share, however, indicates that the viewer found the information so fundamentally valuable that they wanted to catalog it for future personal reference or actively stake their own social reputation on sharing it with their professional peers. Once you mathematically identify the specific topics that historically drive high-friction engagement for your brand, you group them logically into 3 to 5 macro categories. If you operate a regional real estate brokerage firm in suburban Atlanta, your localized pillars might logically be categorized as first-time homebuyer financial education, local neighborhood micro-market analysis, behind the scenes of high-end property staging, and client relocation transition stories. If you run a specialized B2B software consulting firm operating out of Austin, Texas, your pillars might strictly be advanced workflow automations, deep case studies of corporate operational bottlenecks, enterprise industry news decoded, and internal team culture engineering. The absolute golden rule here is that every single piece of content you ever produce, script, or film for the rest of your business lifecycle must neatly and undeniably fit into one of these predefined categorical boxes. If a brilliant idea suddenly pops into your head during your morning commute that does not clearly fit into your established pillars, you absolutely must discard it, no matter how clever or inherently viral you think it might potentially be. Straying from your established pillars instantly dilutes your brand authority and actively resets the algorithmic profile you have worked so incredibly hard to build over the past several months. Imagine if a highly specialized, world-renowned cardiac surgeon suddenly started giving unsolicited public advice on veterinary medicine or commercial real estate, investing on their professional channels. The public trust and their hard-earned topical authority would instantly and permanently erode. The exact same psychological dynamic applies directly to your digital business brand. You must aggressively defend your topical authority at all costs. Now, establishing these 4 pillars is only the very first phase of the calendar architectural process. Knowing exactly what you are going to talk about is undoubtedly crucial, but it is effectively useless if you do not fundamentally understand the optimal cadence, the algorithmic rhythm, and the precise distribution ratios required to keep an American audience deeply engaged over a prolonged multi-month period. If you simply stack your calendar grid with non-stop promotional sales material, your audience will instantly recognize the pattern and systematically tune you out. If you only post dense educational content without any entertaining or observational value, your brand will become incredibly monotonous and easily ignorable. There is a very precise, mathematically verified ratio of content distribution that major media networks use to perfectly balance education, entertainment, and promotion, ensuring the viewer remains locked into the ecosystem week after week, month after month. How exactly do you calculate this golden ratio for your specific industry niche? And more importantly, how do you map those specific pillar ratios onto a physical 30-day scheduling grid without causing massive audience burnout or triggering algorithmic suppression filters? The definitive answer lies in a highly guarded visual scheduling matrix that completely redefines how digital content is systematically deployed, and the exact mechanical operation of that visual matrix is exactly what we have to dissect next. We are talking about the historical deployment strategy known in elite agency circles as the value trust conversion matrix. For decades, traditional American advertising relied on a brute force approach, bludgeoning the consumer with relentless, repetitive calls to action. Buy this product. Subscribe to this service. Sign up for this newsletter today. But as we navigate the deeply saturated and hyper-fragmented digital landscape of 2026, the American consumer has developed an impenetrable psychological armor against direct, unearned solicitation. If your content calendar is heavily weighted toward promotional material, historical trends indicate a near-immediate algorithmic shadow ban. Platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube prioritize user retention above all other metrics. They want users staying on their specific application, consuming content indefinitely, not clicking away to your external sales landing page. If your daily posts actively drive users off the platform, the algorithm will surgically suppress your reach to protect its own internal advertising revenue. So, how do we engineer a calendar that satisfies the platform algorithm's aggressive thirst for retention, while simultaneously satisfying your business's critical need for actual revenue? You must implement a rigid, scientifically balanced distribution model. Let us examine the highly effective 70-20-10 calendar architecture. Think of this precise ratio as the required dietary macronutrients for a healthy, sustainable digital brand. 70% of your scheduled calendar must be pure, unadulterated, frictionless value. This consists of deeply educational content, comprehensive tutorials, and hyper-specific industry insights that require absolutely nothing from the viewer in return. 20% of your calendar is engineered strictly for community building and emotional resonance. This showcases the behind-the-scenes reality of your daily operations, the human element of your corporate team, and the relatable everyday struggles inherent to your specific industry. The final 10%, and absolutely only 10%, is reserved for direct promotional conversion events. Let us look at a highly specific case study to firmly ground this abstract theory in operational reality. Imagine an intellectual property consultant named Eleanor, operating out of Chicago, Illinois, right now in 2026. Eleanor targets mid-sized technology startups looking to understand complex patent landscapes. Before understanding this visual matrix, Eleanor's social media calendar was a chaotic, anxiety-inducing mess of aggressive consultation, offers, and generic legal marketing flyers. The potential outcomes of that strategy were entirely predictable and thoroughly dismal. Her daily posts averaged virtually zero organic reach, and her inbound lead generation was entirely stagnant. Once Eleanor adopted the 70-20-10 matrix and radically restructured her scheduling software, her entire professional trajectory shifted. For her 70% value content, Eleanor completely stopped talking about her own firm's accolades. Instead, she started publishing intensely detailed, strictly educational analyses of historical trends in software patent litigation. She mapped out the public history of major tech intellectual property disputes from the early 2000s, broke down the structural differences between utility and design patents using publicly available case studies, and explained the fundamental mechanics of trademark registration in the United States. She was not giving actionable legal advice. She was providing high-level objective market education. This massive influx of pure educational capital positioned her as an undeniable, objective authority in the Chicago tech sector. For the 20% community content, Eleanor shared the raw, unpolished reality of her operational life. She documented the exhausting process of reviewing thousands of pages of technical documentation, the intricate dynamic of managing a growing team of paralegals, and the authentic challenges of balancing high-stakes corporate consulting with her life in the Midwest. By the time she deployed her 10% promotional content, perhaps a highly specific, registration-gated webinar on the historical evolution of open-source software licensing, her audience was deeply and psychologically primed. They did not view her promotional post as a disruptive, annoying advertisement. They viewed it as the highly anticipated logical next step in their ongoing professional education. Imagine if you applied this exact discipline ratio to your own 30-day scheduling grid. The psychological shift in your target audience is incredibly profound. When you consistently deposit high-value educational capital into their digital feed without constantly asking for a financial or temporal withdrawal, you build a massive, invisible reservoir of operational goodwill. You are leveraging the deep-seated human psychological trigger of reciprocity. When that strict 10% promotional post finally hits their feed at the end of the month, the historical friction associated with internet selling is completely eliminated. The viewer already inherently trusts your expertise. They have already consumed hours of your free, high-tier industry insights. The final conversion becomes a seamless, natural byproduct of the parasocial relationship, rather than a forced, high-pressure, incredibly awkward transaction. Now, how do we physically map these exact percentages onto a tangible, interactive 30-day calendar without losing our minds? This requires a tactical shift from abstract marketing strategy to concrete, visual logistics. You absolutely must utilize a strict color-coded tagging system within your chosen calendar scheduling software. Every single piece of content drafted by your team must be violently categorized before it is ever approved for public publication. Your deep educational value posts are tagged with a specific color, let us say green. Your community and behind-the-scenes posts are tagged blue. Your direct promotional posts are tagged red. When you zoom out at the end of the planning week and look at your macro monthly calendar view, the visual data instantly tells you the truth about your upcoming strategy. If you look at the month of October and see a heavily clustered, overwhelmingly red sea of promotional tags, you instantly know your content ecosystem is mathematically toxic and heading directly for algorithmic suppression. You must physically drag and drop those posts to visually balance the grid. A perfectly optimized, algorithmically compliant workweek within the United States market might consist of highly technical, green value posts scheduled for the morning commutes on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You might schedule a humanizing blue community post for Wednesday afternoon when corporate fatigue sets in and users are passively scrolling for entertainment. Finally, you might execute a subtle red promotional call to action carefully embedded within a long-form, high-value thread on a Friday morning. This strict visual categorization ensures you are never emotionally guessing your content ratio on a day-to-day basis. You are relying on cold, hard structural data and historical platform behavior. But having the absolute perfect mathematical ratio and a beautifully color-coded calendar is completely and utterly meaningless if you are physically incapable of producing that massive volume of daily content without suffering severe psychological burnout. The most beautifully engineered, theoretically perfect content calendar in the world will inevitably collapse in on itself if it requires you to actively film, meticulously edit, and perfectly write every single day of the week. The hidden operational secret of every massive, highly profitable media company in the United States is not their relentless posting frequency. It is their highly guarded, ruthlessly efficient production workflow. How do top-tier creators and agency teams generate 60 pieces of highly optimized, platform-specific content in a single focused 8-hour window? How do they leverage sophisticated architectural batching techniques to completely decouple their physical time from their digital publishing schedule? The exact minute-by-minute blueprint for constructing that hyper-efficient production machine is exactly what we are going to tear apart next. The single most destructive myth propagated in the digital marketing space is the romanticized idea of the daily hustle. Society has conditioned business owners to believe they must wake up, conceptualize a brilliant idea, write a compelling script, set up their lighting equipment, perform on camera, edit the footage, and push it live to their social media calendar, all within a single 24-hour window. This is fundamentally unsustainable. The human brain is not designed to seamlessly transition between deep analytical thinking, high-energy on-camera performance, and meticulous technical editing within the exact same afternoon. Psychologists and productivity researchers refer to this as the context-switching penalty. Every single time you shift from the creative state of writing to the technical state of adjusting camera settings, your brain expends massive amounts of cognitive energy just to recalibrate. Historical trends in corporate productivity show that this constant shifting can result in up to a 40% loss in overall efficiency. You are literally burning your creative fuel simply by changing gears. To completely eliminate this context-switching penalty and physically populate that color-coded 70-20-10 matrix we just built, you must adopt a heavily regimented batch production workflow. Batching is the industrialization of your creative process. It is the exact methodology utilized by every major television studio and elite media agency in the United States. They do not film an episode of a television show on Tuesday morning and air it on Tuesday night. They isolate specific tasks and execute them in massive, uninterrupted blocks of focused time. Let us examine a practical application of this system through a case study featuring a professional named David, who runs a highly successful commercial real estate educational platform in Miami, Florida, right now in 2026. Before understanding the mechanics of batch production, David was trapped in the daily content treadmill. He would spend his mornings stressed about what to post, hastily set up his camera in his office between client meetings, and try to edit the footage on his laptop during his commute home. The potential outcomes of this erratic workflow became immediately apparent in his analytics. His on-camera energy was noticeably depleted, his educational messaging was disjointed, and he frequently missed his optimal posting windows, resulting in severe algorithmic penalties. He was working incredibly hard but generating virtually zero digital traction. David completely revolutionized his business by implementing a strict 4-day monthly batching sprint. He entirely decoupled the act of creating content from the act of publishing content. On the first Monday of every month, David executes Day 1, which is strictly dedicated to ideation and scripting. He does not touch a camera. He does not open editing software. He sits in a quiet room and meticulously scripts 4 deep-dive educational videos based on his established content pillars. He structures his hooks, outlines his historical data points, and refines his educational delivery. By the end of Day 1, the intellectual heavy lifting for the entire month is completely finished. Day 2 is entirely dedicated to physical production. David sets up his studio lighting perfectly just once. He tests his microphone audio just once. He brings 4 different blazers and ties to his office to create the visual illusion of different days. He then stands in front of the camera and films all 4 scripts back-to-back in a single high-energy performance block. Because his brain is locked entirely into presentation mode, his delivery is sharper, his pacing is faster, and his overall charisma is significantly amplified. He is not worried about what to say because the scripts are already finalized. He is not worried about the camera battery dying because he planned the entire shoot in advance. Day 3 is strictly reserved for post-production and the implementation of the waterfall content strategy. This is where the magic of the content calendar truly takes shape. David takes those 4 long-form educational videos and systematically fragments them into dozens of smaller, highly optimized micro-assets. One 20-minute masterclass on the history of Miami zoning laws is sliced into 4 60-second vertical videos highlighting the most crucial data points. The transcription of that video is reformatted into a deeply analytical, text-based post for his professional network. The core thesis of the video is turned into an engaging community poll to drive interaction. By applying this waterfall methodology, a single macro piece of content effortlessly generates 10 to 15 micropieces of content. Suddenly, filling a 30-day calendar is no longer a daunting task. It is a simple exercise in distribution. Day 4 is the final step of the batching sprint, dedicated entirely to scheduling and automation. David takes the massive library of newly created, perfectly edited assets and carefully places them onto his scheduling software, strictly adhering to the 70-20-10 color-coded matrix we established earlier. He writes the captions, researches the localized geographic tags, and sets the exact publication times based on his audience analytics. By the end of Day 4, David's entire digital marketing ecosystem for the entire month is fully loaded, optimized, and set to run completely autonomously. Imagine if you implemented this exact system in your own business. You dedicate 4 days of intense, focused effort at the beginning of the month. For the remaining 26 days, your social media calendar acts as an incredibly efficient, highly reliable digital employee. It works tirelessly while you sleep, it educates your audience while you are consulting with clients, and it builds immense brand authority while you actually live your life. You are no longer a slave to the daily algorithm. You are its architect. You have successfully engineered a predictable, data-driven machine that consistently outputs high-quality material without requiring your constant physical presence. However, having a fully loaded, beautifully batched content calendar is completely useless if you lack the situational awareness to deploy it correctly within the highly specific cultural environment of the United States. You can have the most perfectly edited educational video in the world, but if your scheduling software automatically publishes it right in the middle of a massive national holiday or during a major cultural event, when the entire country's attention is directed elsewhere, your masterpiece will absolutely flatline. The algorithm is acutely aware of real-world events, shifting consumer moods, and seasonal economic cycles. The United States operates on a very rigid, highly predictable calendar of cultural phenomena, retail seasons, and collective behavioral shifts. If your meticulously batched content does not dynamically adjust to map onto this hidden national heartbeat, your engagement metrics will plummet. How exactly do you synchronize your automated content machine with the shifting macro environment of the American consumer? And what are the specific unwritten seasonal rules you must obey to prevent your content from being buried during high-noise periods? To survive the brutal algorithmic battlefield of the United States digital ecosystem, you must master the absolute art of macro-calendar synchronization. The American consumer market is not a flat, predictable line of consistent attention. It is a highly volatile, deeply emotional roller coaster dictated by national holidays, shifting seasonal priorities, corporate financial quarters, and massive cultural focal points. If you treat the month of November exactly the same way you treat the month of March, your perfectly batched content will be completely obliterated by the sheer volume of competing digital noise. The platforms themselves actively change their distribution behaviors based on what the national collective consciousness is focused on at any given moment. You must proactively map out your entire calendar year from a bird's-eye view before you ever start assigning specific posts to specific days. Let us examine the historical trends of platform behavior during a massive American cultural event. We will use a case study featuring a specialized supply chain consultant named Michael, operating out of Columbus, Ohio, right now in 2026. Michael offers high-ticket logistical consulting for mid-sized manufacturing firms. Early in his digital journey, Michael executed a flawless 4-day batching sprint. He recorded incredibly valuable, data-rich videos about warehouse automation and inventory management. However, his scheduling software was blindly set to publish his most important, lead-generating masterclass on the Friday afternoon, immediately preceding Memorial Day weekend. The potential outcomes of this timing were disastrous, and the historical data quickly confirmed his critical error. His masterpiece, which normally would have secured thousands of highly qualified B2B impressions, flatlined with barely a dozen views. Why did this happen? Because Michael completely ignored the macro environment of the American consumer. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the Friday before Memorial Day, the entire corporate workforce of the United States has mentally checked out. They are navigating heavy traffic on the interstate, packing their vehicles for weekend getaways, and opening their social media apps exclusively to look at weather forecasts, travel updates, and leisure content. Simultaneously, the platform algorithms have already aggressively pivoted. Machine learning models know that users want light, entertaining, community-centric content during a holiday weekend. Therefore, the algorithm actively suppresses dense, highly technical business-to-business educational material. Michael's perfectly edited video was fundamentally incompatible with the psychological state of his target audience and the algorithmic filters of that specific day. To prevent this from happening to your brand, you must establish what elite agency directors call algorithmic blackout dates. You must physically mark these dates on your master scheduling grid in bright warning colors. These are specific days or entire weeks within the United States where attempting to force standard educational or promotional content is a complete waste of your valuable digital assets. Super Bowl Sunday is a prime example of an absolute blackout date for 99% of standard business content. Unless your brand has a highly clever, deeply integrated, and culturally relevant tie-in to the specific sporting event or the halftime show. Posting a standard tutorial about real estate staging or intellectual property law, while the entire nation is focused on the game, is algorithmic suicide. Other major blackout periods include the evening of Halloween, the 4th of July weekend, and the immediate 48 hours surrounding major national elections, when news organizations completely monopolize the organic feed. During these high-noise periods, you have two strategic choices based on historical market data. You can either completely pause your publishing schedule to protect your average engagement metrics, ensuring the algorithm does not register a massive dip in your account's performance, or you can temporarily abandon your 70% educational pillar and pivot entirely to your 20% community pillar. Posting a simple, humanizing photo of your corporate team participating in a local Thanksgiving food drive will perform exponentially better during the third week of November than a highly technical white paper breakdown. You must learn to read the room on a national scale. Imagine if you tried to launch your flagship digital product or your most aggressive promotional campaign during the exact week of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. The historical trends regarding the cost of digital attention during the fourth quarter are staggering. From late October through the end of December, Fortune 500 companies, massive multinational retail conglomerates, and venture-backed e-commerce brands dump billions of dollars into aggressive digital advertising. They essentially buy up all the available visual real estate on the platforms. The feed becomes a relentless, suffocating wall of aggressive discounts and urgent calls to action. If you try to deploy your standard 10% promotional content during this specific window without a massive paid advertising budget to back it up, your organic reach will be systematically crushed beneath the weight of corporate spending. Instead of fighting a losing battle against billion-dollar budgets, the most sophisticated creators in the United States execute a counterintuitive Q4 pivot. While every other brand is screaming at the consumer to buy, these creators drastically increase their 70% value content. They double down on deep, calming, frictionless education. They become a quiet, highly valuable refuge in a sea of exhausting digital advertisements. By zigging while the entire national market zags, they capture massive amounts of underpriced attention. When January 1st finally rolls around, a time when the American consumer is deeply focused on self-improvement, corporate budgets reset, and the massive retail ad spend completely evaporates, these creators have built an insurmountable level of audience trust. They then launch their major promotional campaigns in Q1 into a completely empty, highly receptive digital feed, resulting in massive potential outcomes for their bottom line. You must also account for the subtle psychological shifts that occur during the transitions of the American seasons. In late August and early September, the entire country experiences the back-to-school shift. Even for consumers who do not have children, the national mood collectively pivots from the relaxed, spontaneous energy of summer vacation back into a highly structured, routine-oriented mindset. Your content calendar must reflect this shift. Your tone should become sharper, your educational tutorials should become more structured, and your messaging should align with the concept of getting back to serious business. By mapping your highly efficient batch production workflow onto this complex, dynamic national calendar, you create a digital strategy that is not just automated, but hyper-intelligent. You are no longer just posting into a void. You are actively surfing the massive cultural waves of the United States consumer market. You know exactly when to push aggressive educational content, when to lean into humanizing community stories, and when to completely step back and let the cultural noise pass you by. However, constructing this perfect, year-long automated machine introduces a terrifying new vulnerability. If you have batched your entire month of content in advance, and your software is scheduled to run autonomously, what happens when your specific industry experiences a massive, unexpected disruption? What happens when a major regulatory change is announced overnight, or a revolutionary new piece of technology completely alters your market landscape on a random Tuesday? If your calendar just blindly continues to post pre-recorded, generic tutorials while your entire audience is desperately searching for answers about a breaking news event, you will instantly appear totally disconnected, obsolete, and completely out of touch with reality. How do you inject hyper-relevant, real-time trending topics into a tightly locked scheduling grid without completely destroying the automated systems you just spent weeks building? The precise methodology for maintaining calendar agility and reacting to sudden industry earthquakes is exactly what we must unpack next. The fundamental solution to this vulnerability is what elite digital strategists refer to as the 80-20 agility protocol. 80-20 agility protocol. When you are executing your 4-day monthly batching sprint, or a revolutionary new piece of technology completely alters your market landscape on a random Tuesday. If your calendar just blindly continues to post pre-recorded, generic tutorials while your entire audience is desperately searching for answers about a breaking news event, you will instantly appear totally disconnected, obsolete, and completely out of touch with reality. How do you inject hyper-relevant, real-time trending topics into a tightly locked scheduling grid without completely destroying the automated systems you just spent weeks building? The precise methodology for maintaining calendar agility is exactly what we must unpack next. The fundamental solution to this vulnerability is what elite digital strategists refer to as the 80-20 agility protocol. When you are executing your 4-day monthly batching sprint, The natural temptation is to fill every single available slot on your scheduling matrix, completely locking down the grid from the 1st of the month to the 31st. This is a critical operational error. If your calendar is at 100% capacity, you have essentially built a rigid digital fortress with absolutely no doors. Instead, you must intentionally engineer empty space. You only pre-schedule 80% of your total monthly capacity. The remaining 20% of your calendar must be deliberately left blank, scattered strategically throughout the month. These empty slots are your rapid response buffers. They represent oxygen in your system, allowing your brand to breathe, pivot, and react to the unpredictable macro environment of the United States without derailing the automated machine you just spent a week building. To visualize exactly how this protocol saves businesses from digital irrelevance, let us examine a highly specific case study involving a professional named Sarah. Sarah runs a boutique cybersecurity consulting firm in Washington, D.C. Right now in 2026, her primary target audience consists of mid-sized defense contractors and regional healthcare networks. Sarah flawlessly executed her batching sprint at the beginning of the month. She had 30 pieces of highly valuable, deeply researched educational content loaded into her scheduling software. Her videos covered historical trends in phishing attacks, detailed breakdowns of password hygiene, and complex compliance regulations. Her calendar was running beautifully on autopilot. But suddenly, on a random Tuesday morning, an unprecedented catastrophic cloud infrastructure failure hits the United States. Major domestic airlines ground their flights, regional banking portals go completely offline, and severe panic ripples through corporate America as executives scramble to understand if their internal data has been compromised. Imagine if Sarah did absolutely nothing. Imagine if she allowed her automated software to blindly operate in a vacuum. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, right at the absolute peak of the national technology panic, her calendar would automatically publish a pre-recorded, highly polished, cheerful video about organizing your digital desktop folders. The potential outcomes of that automated post would be devastating to her professional reputation. In the context of a national digital crisis, her cheerful pre-scheduled tutorial would appear unbelievably tone-deaf, completely oblivious to market realities, and fundamentally disconnected from the actual concerns of her target demographic. Her hard-earned authority would instantly evaporate because she failed to acknowledge the earthquake happening right beneath her audience's feet. Because Sarah utilized the 80-20 agility protocol, she possessed the operational bandwidth to execute a massive tactical pivot. Within 30 minutes of the news breaking across major media outlets, Sarah hits the global pause button on her social media scheduling software. She completely halts the automated output. She does not delete her perfectly batched content. She simply delays the queue. She then activates her rapid response workflow. She does not bother setting up her complex studio lighting. She does not write a meticulous script, and she does not worry about high-end visual production value. She simply sits at her desk, uses the natural light from her office window, turns on her webcam, and records a raw, unfiltered, 10-minute analytical breakdown of the ongoing cloud crisis. She utilizes historical data from previous infrastructure outages to provide context, outlines the exact technical architecture of the failure, and offers a calm, highly educational assessment of what mid-sized businesses need to do over the next 48 hours to secure their local servers. She publishes this raw video immediately. The historical trends of platform behavior during a crisis dictate that speed and factual accuracy dramatically outperform cinematic polish. Viewers actually inherently trust slightly unpolished, raw footage more during a breaking news event because it signals real-time urgency and authentic, unfiltered expertise. Because Sarah was one of the very first authoritative voices in the Washington, D.C. tech sector to provide calm, level-headed education rather than clickbait panic, that single unscripted video captured more organic reach, more professional shares, and more inbound consultation requests than her entire month of batched content combined. She successfully hijacked the national attention span because she had the structural agility to step outside her automated calendar. To execute this yourself, you must establish a rigid, deeply defined tier system for breaking news within your specific industry. You cannot halt your automated calendar for every minor headline, or you will completely defeat the purpose of batching. You must define what constitutes a Tier 1 event. If you are a certified public accountant operating in New York City, a sudden, sweeping overhaul of the federal tax code or a major shift in IRS auditing protocols is a Tier 1 event that demands an immediate pause of your calendar and a rapid response video. However, A new trending audio track on a social platform or a minor change to a software interface is a Tier 3 event that you must completely ignore. You must aggressively defend your core content pillars. The most destructive pitfall of calendar agility is the temptation of blind trendjacking. If a commercial roofing company in Denver attempts to halt their calendar to make a viral meme about a massive pop culture celebrity scandal simply to chase cheap views, they actively destroy the foundational trust of their customer base. Your rapid response content must strictly and undeniably intersect with your established professional authority. This requires you to treat your content calendar as a living, breathing ecosystem that demands daily supervision, even when the autopilot is fully engaged. The ultimate insurance policy against algorithmic disaster is the 5-minute daily audit. Every single morning, before your scheduled posts go live, you must spend exactly 5 minutes taking the digital temperature of your industry. You scan the major financial or sector-specific publications, you check the trending topics on your target platforms, and you verify that your automated output for that specific day is still culturally and contextually appropriate. If the environment is stable, you let the machine run. If an earthquake has occurred, you hit pause and pivot. Now you possess a calendar architecture that is mathematically balanced via the 70-20-10 matrix, ruthlessly efficient through 4-day batching, and dynamically agile enough to capitalize on real-time market shifts. You have the perfect message, produced flawlessly, ready to deploy at the exact right moment. But a massive structural distribution problem remains. A deeply analytical, text-heavy corporate essay that performs exceptionally well on a professional networking site will be violently rejected by a short-form, vertically oriented video platform. You cannot simply copy and paste the exact same asset across 4 different social media applications and expect historical trends of success. Every single platform speaks a completely different visual and psychological language, and failing to translate your batched content correctly is the fastest way to throttle your reach. How do you take one masterpiece of content and mathematically re-engineer it to exploit the unique algorithmic biases of every single platform simultaneously? This precise challenge is solved through a mandatory operational process known as native content translation. The single most dangerous feature embedded within modern scheduling software is the universal publish button. This feature deceptively tricks business owners into believing that digital omnipresence is simply a matter of checking 4 different platform boxes and blasting the exact same video file across the entire internet simultaneously. Historical trends from algorithm updates over the past 3 years unequivocally prove that this copy-and-paste methodology is actively penalized by platform machine learning models. Every major social network operates with a fundamentally distinct psychological dialect. The users logging into a professional networking site at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning are operating under a completely different cognitive framework than the users casually scrolling a short-form vertical video feed at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. If you do not meticulously translate your batched master asset into the specific native dialect of each individual platform, the algorithms will instantly recognize your content as foreign, non-native material and drastically throttle its organic distribution. To fully grasp the financial gravity of this translation process, we must examine a highly revealing case study from right here in 2026. Consider a structural engineer named Robert, operating a commercial development firm out of Denver, Colorado. Robert executed a flawless batching sprint, producing a highly valuable 20-minute masterclass video detailing the historical trends of sustainable building materials in high-altitude environments. His core thesis was brilliant, his data was impeccable, and his delivery was authoritative. However, Robert fell directly into the universal publishing trap. He took a single 2-minute horizontal clip from that masterclass, attached a generic 1-sentence caption, and pushed it simultaneously to LinkedIn, Instagram, and a short-form video platform. The potential outcomes of this lazy distribution strategy were immediately visible in his analytics dashboard. The video completely failed across all 3 networks. On the short-form platform, the horizontal aspect ratio and slow, academic pacing caused viewers to swipe away within 2 seconds, instantly killing the retention metric. On the professional networking site, the lack of deeply written context frustrated executives who preferred to read rather than watch a video in a quiet office environment. By refusing to translate his core message, Robert essentially walked into 3 different foreign countries and started loudly speaking a language nobody understood. Once Robert implemented the native content translation protocol, his entire digital ecosystem experienced a massive revitalization. He realized that the master video was not the final product. It was merely the raw informational, or that needed to be refined into different platform-specific currencies. Let us dissect exactly how you must re-engineer a single master asset for the modern American digital landscape. When translating content for a professional B2B networking platform like LinkedIn, you must understand that the primary psychological driver of the user is career advancement and industry intelligence. They do not want fast-paced entertainment. They want structured, easily digestible data that makes them look smarter in their next board meeting. Therefore, you do not just upload the raw video clip. You take the core thesis of your masterclass and draft a long-form, highly analytical written essay. You utilize aggressive bullet points to break down the historical trends. You attach a high-resolution, data-driven infographic specifically designed for desktop viewing. The video clip itself becomes entirely secondary, acting only as supplementary evidence at the very bottom of the post. This specific formatting signals to the platform algorithm that you are providing deep native value designed specifically to keep professionals reading on their site. Now, you must take that exact same foundational topic and translate it for a highly visual, aesthetic-driven platform like Instagram. The American consumer on this platform is driven by visual status, lifestyle integration, and high-fidelity imagery. A dense, text-heavy essay about sustainable building materials will be completely ignored. Instead, you extract the most visually striking architectural renders from your masterclass. You format them into a seamless, high-resolution visual carousel that forces the user to physically swipe through the data. Your caption must be drastically shortened, removing heavy corporate jargon and focusing instead on the broader, more relatable narrative of modern city evolution. The educational value remains perfectly intact, but the delivery mechanism has been completely fundamentally altered to satisfy the algorithm's desperate need for visual engagement and prolonged screen time. Finally, you must translate that same core message for the hyper-aggressive, incredibly fast-paced short-form vertical video platforms that dominate consumer attention in 2026. This requires the most radical re-engineering of all. The American user on these platforms has a microscopic attention span, constantly seeking immediate dopamine hits and rapid-fire information. You cannot use the slow, methodical introduction from your masterclass. You must completely strip the asset down to its absolute most controversial or fascinating core data point. You take a 15-second vertical slice of your video, aggressively crop it to fill the entire mobile screen, and boldly overlay large, native text graphics that directly call out a specific problem your target audience faces. You drastically increase the pacing of the cuts to prevent the viewer's eye from resting. The goal here is not to deliver a comprehensive 20-minute lecture. The goal is to deliver a highly concentrated, potent dose of curiosity that forces the viewer to actively seek out the full masterclass on your primary channels. Imagine if you applied this rigorous translation protocol to every single piece of content you produce during your monthly batching sprint. You are no longer just a business owner lazily shouting the same message into a void. You become a highly sophisticated media operator, perfectly modulating your tone, your visual formatting, and your psychological triggers to manipulate the unique mechanical biases of every single platform algorithm. You build a massive interconnected web of digital assets, all driving the exact same core educational pillars, but mathematically optimized to survive in their specific environments. This requires significantly more operational discipline during your post-production phase, but the historical data proves that native optimization is the only mathematical way to achieve true digital scale without relying on massive, unsustainable paid advertising budgets. However, once you have successfully batched your content, mapped it onto the macrocultural calendar, and flawlessly translated it into every specific platform dialect, you face the ultimate operational reckoning. You are actively deploying hundreds of heavily optimized digital assets into the United States marketplace every single month. But how do you actually know if any of this immense effort is positively impacting your bottom line? Vanity metrics like views and superficial likes are completely useless indicators of actual business health. If you are generating millions of views but your commercial revenue remains completely stagnant, your beautifully engineered content calendar is nothing more than a highly expensive, deeply time-consuming hobby. You must transition from simply publishing content to ruthlessly auditing its financial performance. What are the specific, hidden data points and invisible metrics you must track to determine if your calendar is actually generating a return on investment? And how do you build a closed-loop feedback system that mathematically forces your content to get better every single month? The transition from publishing to auditing is where digital hobbyists are separated from professional operators. The absolute most dangerous trap in the American digital ecosystem today is the intoxicating allure of vanity metrics. When a business owner logs into their analytics dashboard and sees a video has accumulated 50,000 views and 4,000 likes, the immediate psychological response is massive validation. They falsely believe their content calendar is a resounding success. But historical trends across the United States B2B and high-ticket B2C markets reveal a terrifying reality. Views and likes are highly passive, low-friction actions that require absolutely zero financial or intellectual commitment from the consumer. A user can blindly double-tap a screen while waiting in line for coffee without ever registering your brand name, understanding your core educational pillar, or possessing the financial capacity to purchase your services. If you are optimizing your 70-20-10 calendar matrix purely to chase these superficial numbers, you are actively engineering a massive, highly engaged audience of non-buyers. To build a mathematically sound closed-loop feedback system, you must radically redefine what constitutes a successful piece of content. We must completely discard the vanity metrics and rigorously track high-friction actions. A high-friction action is any digital behavior that requires the consumer to expend significant cognitive energy, time, or social capital. This includes bookmarking a post for future personal reference, sharing a technical tutorial directly to a colleague via a private messaging application, or physically clicking a tracked link to leave the platform entirely and visit your external landing page. These specific behaviors undeniably indicate that your educational capital has successfully penetrated the consumer's psychological armor and generated genuine market trust. Let us analyze a highly revealing case study involving a founder named James, who operates a specialized corporate logistics firm in Chicago, Illinois, operating right now in 2026. James had built a visually stunning content calendar. His short-form vertical videos were consistently hitting viral velocity, frequently crossing the 100,000 view threshold. However, the potential outcomes of this massive digital exposure were entirely disconnected from his actual business health. His calendar was fully booked, his production quality was television grade, but his corporate consultation pipeline was entirely stagnant. James was tracking the wrong data. He was optimizing his monthly batch production for mass appeal rather than targeted financial conversion. When James finally implemented a closed-loop audit, the historical data exposed a massive structural flaw. His viral videos were highly entertaining, but they were attracting a demographic of university students and junior employees who possessed absolutely zero corporate purchasing power. Conversely, when he examined his high-friction actions, he discovered an incredibly profound anomaly. He had a specific subset of long-form, highly technical, visually boring text posts that were only receiving 200 total views. But those 200 views were generating massive amounts of saves, and more importantly, they were generating direct inbound messages from senior supply chain executives asking for specialized consultations. By tracking the friction rather than the volume, James realized his most visually unsuccessful content was actually his most mathematically profitable asset. Furthermore, James had to account for the massive rise of private sharing networks, a phenomenon known across elite marketing agencies as dark social. The American digital landscape in 2026 is heavily dominated by these invisible transactions. When a senior executive sees your highly educational masterclass on sustainable supply chains, they rarely share it publicly on their own feed because public sharing carries professional risk. Instead, they copy the direct link and paste it into a private corporate communication channel or an encrypted direct message to their internal procurement team. The platform algorithms cannot see this private transaction. Your public metrics will show 0 shares, but that single private transfer might be viewed by 12 highly qualified corporate decision-makers. How do you measure the invisible? You must heavily utilize specialized tracking links and correlate spikes in direct website traffic that completely lack referring domain data with the specific publication timestamps on your content calendar. If your external analytics software shows a sudden influx of anonymous direct traffic exactly 3 hours after you published a highly technical case study, historical data modeling allows you to confidently attribute that traffic surge to dark social sharing of that specific calendar asset. To engineer this exact same revelation within your own business, you must build a comprehensive monthly content autopsy into your operational workflow. On the final Friday of every single month, before you ever begin scripting your next batching sprint, you must completely halt production and perform a ruthless, data-driven diagnostic of the previous 30 days. You must manually export the raw analytics data from every platform into a centralized spreadsheet. You are not looking at the overall performance, you are searching exclusively for the statistical outliers. You must identify the top 3 performing assets of the month based exclusively on saves and direct link clicks, and you must identify the bottom 3 performing assets that completely flatlined and triggered zero external action. Once you isolate these specific outliers, the true autopsy begins. You must strip away your emotional attachment to the content and analyze its structural skeleton. For your top performers, you must ask rigorous, highly specific questions. What was the exact pacing of the first 3 seconds? What specific psychological trigger did you use in the opening hook? Did you leverage historical market data or a localized narrative case study? What was the specific call to action, and how was it visually formatted on the screen? You are actively hunting for the hidden mechanical variables that cause that specific asset to drastically outperform the baseline. Equally important is the autopsy of your bottom performers. Why did that specific video fail? Was the educational topic too broad for the highly specific United States market? Did you accidentally post it during an algorithmic blackout date? Was the audio quality slightly degraded, causing a massive viewer drop-off in the first 2 seconds? This process is incredibly humbling, but it is fundamentally mandatory. If you do not ruthlessly analyze your failures, your automated calendar will simply repeat the exact same expensive mistakes month after month, year after year, slowly bleeding your operational budget. The true operational power of the closed-loop feedback system is fully realized in the iteration mandate. The insights extracted from your monthly content autopsy must directly dictate the structural architecture of your very next batching sprint. If your data reveals that highly technical case studies generate 4 times the number of qualified leads compared to broad industry news updates, you must violently adjust your foundational content pillars. You eliminate the news updates entirely and double the production volume of your case studies. You are no longer guessing what the market wants. You are mathematically forcing the market to tell you exactly what it is willing to consume, and then you are utilizing your efficient batching workflow to manufacture that exact highly desired product at scale. Imagine if you managed your social media calendar with the exact same ruthless, data-driven precision as an institutional investment firm manages its capital allocation. You would never blindly throw thousands of dollars into an investment vehicle without rigorously tracking its exact historical performance and adjusting your portfolio based on shifting market data. Your time, your creative energy, and your digital assets are your operational capital. When you attach highly specific tracking parameters to every single promotional link you publish, you map the exact digital journey of your consumer. You can look at your dashboard and see unequivocally that a specific green value post published on a Tuesday morning directly resulted in a $5,000 client retainer, exactly 14 days later. That level of extreme attribution completely eliminates marketing anxiety. It transforms social media from a frustrating, unpredictable slot machine into a highly predictable, mathematically verified revenue engine. However, as you implement this closed-loop system, aggressively optimize your content based on hard data, and successfully scale your digital presence across the fragmented United States ecosystem, you will inevitably collide with a massive, highly dangerous operational ceiling. You will reach a point where the sheer mechanical volume of managing the calendar, analyzing the complex data, and maintaining the 70-20-10 matrix completely exceeds the physical bandwidth of a single human being. You will be forced to bring external team members, freelance video editors, and specialized virtual assistants into your highly guarded workflow. But the absolute moment you hand over the keys to your automated machine to a third party, you risk instantly destroying the authentic, localized brand voice you just spent months carefully constructing. How do you scale your personnel and delegate the heavy lifting of the calendar without your content suddenly sounding like a generic, soulless corporate brochure produced by a completely disconnected agency? The exact architectural blueprint for successfully delegating your content machine, while aggressively protecting your unique market identity, is exactly what we must tear apart next. The single greatest point of failure for a growing business in the American digital economy is the botched handoff. You have spent months building an audience, establishing your 70-20-10 matrix, and generating real revenue through your closed-loop feedback system. Suddenly, your calendar is fully booked with high-ticket clients. You are working 80-hour weeks, and you realize you must bring in external help to manage your social media output. The natural, fatal instinct is to hire an external marketing agency or a freelance social media manager, hand them the login credentials to your scheduling software, and completely step away to focus on daily operations. Historical trends across the United States market indicate that when this abrupt abdication of responsibility occurs, organic engagement plummets within precisely 3 weeks. Why does this happen so predictably? Because your audience has built a deep, psychological parasocial relationship with your specific tone, your unique industry nuances, and your localized cultural dialect. When a specialized copywriter located 3 time zones away begins drafting your daily posts using generic, sanitized corporate jargon, the American consumer instantly detects the operational shift. They subconsciously smell the lack of authenticity, the algorithmic retention metrics collapse, and your hard-earned digital equity evaporates overnight. To completely prevent this catastrophic loss of market identity, you must engineer a comprehensive brand voice codex before you ever allow a single external contractor to touch your scheduling software. A brand voice codex is not a superficial list of corporate hex codes, preferred typography, and transparent logos. It is a deeply psychological, incredibly rigid operational manual that dictates the exact boundaries of how your brand communicates with the public. You cannot expect a third party to inherently understand your professional soul. You must mathematically map it out for them. Let us analyze a highly specific case study featuring a professional named William, who operates a boutique commercial insurance brokerage in Scottsdale, Arizona, right now in 2026. William had successfully utilized the 4-day batching sprint, and his inbound lead flow had exploded. Reaching his physical bandwidth limit, he outsourced his entire calendar management to a large, inexpensive digital agency. The potential outcomes were disastrous. The agency, lacking any localized context, began publishing highly aggressive, fear-based content highlighting catastrophic liability lawsuits to drive cheap clicks. This entirely violated Williams' historically calm, deeply educational and consultative tone. His core local audience in Arizona immediately alienated, viewing the new content as desperate and unprofessional, and his localized referral pipeline dried up almost instantly. William immediately terminated the agency contract and spent 3 uninterrupted days constructing his brand voice codex. What exactly must you include in this foundational document to prevent Williams' expensive mistake? First, you must establish a definitive, non-negotiable vocabulary blacklist and whitelist. If you are a high-end luxury real estate agent operating in Manhattan, your codex explicitly states that your team is permanently forbidden from using words like cheap, bargain, hustle, or discount. Instead, it strictly mandates the use of approved, high-status terminology like undervalued asset, opportunistic acquisition, and strategic market execution. Second, the codex must permanently define your corporate stance on industry controversy. If a major, polarizing regulatory change sweeps through your specific sector, the document outlines whether your brand takes an aggressive, opinionated stance to polarize the audience, or if you strictly operate as a neutral, objective reporter of historical market data. Third, and perhaps most crucially for the highly fragmented American market, the codex must outline localized cultural nuances. If your target demographic consists of manufacturing business owners in the American Midwest, your external copywriter needs to fundamentally understand that the tone must be fiercely pragmatic, deeply community-focused, and completely stripped of excessive Silicon Valley technology jargon. You must give your team the psychological guardrails required to emulate your exact intellectual footprint. Once this rigid document is finalized, you can begin to assemble your delegation architecture through a highly controlled, phased rollout. You absolutely do not delegate the entire calendar pipeline at once. Phase 1 is the strict delegation of post-production. You still completely own the intellectual ideation and the physical on-camera performance during your monthly batching sprint, but you hand the raw video files and the brand voice codex directly to a specialized video editor. Because they possess the codex, they do not have to guess what style of background music aligns with your corporate identity, how aggressive the jump cuts should be for your specific target demographic, or what specific hex codes to utilize for the on-screen data visualizations. Phase 2 is delegating the native content translation protocol we established earlier. You bring in a specialized copywriter who intimately understands the mechanical biases of the different social platforms. You provide them with the finalized edited video assets in your codex. Their sole operational duty is to dissect your masterclass videos and write the long-form, analytical essays for your professional networking sites, alongside the short, punchy, curiosity-driven captions for your vertical video platforms. But how do you ensure absolute, uncompromising quality control across hundreds of monthly digital assets without reverting back to micromanaging every single post and defeating the entire purpose of delegation? You must implement a strict staging approval funnel within your calendar software. Your external team members are technically restricted and strictly forbidden from possessing the administrative permissions required to hit the live publish button. Their access only allows them to load the finalized video assets, the translated text captions, and the localized geographic tags into a hidden draft environment on the calendar matrix. Imagine if you applied this strict, enterprise-grade workflow to your upcoming month of operations. On the final Thursday of the month, your entire digital ecosystem for the next 30 days is fully loaded into the draft environment by your external team. You sit down in your office and perform a macroscopic, high-level executive review. You look at the visual grid to ensure the 70-20-10 color-coded ratio is perfectly balanced. You spot-check the text captions to verify they strictly adhere to the vocabulary guidelines established in your brand voice codex. You verify that the national blackout dates and shifting cultural seasons have been properly respected, because the incredibly time-consuming heavy lifting of video editing, platform translation, and formatting is entirely finished. This comprehensive executive review process takes you less than 2 hours. If a specific asset violates the codex, you reject it back to the team with highly specific operational notes. If the month passes your audit, you hit the Global Approve button, locking the entire calendar into autonomous, highly protected operation. This is the exact operational blueprint utilized by elite media companies and massive personal brands to produce staggering volumes of high-friction content without destroying the founder's psychological sanity or diluting the core brand identity. You have successfully and permanently decoupled your physical time from your digital output. You have transformed a chaotic, unpredictable daily stressor into a highly efficient, predictable, and scalable corporate asset that operates entirely independent of your daily schedule. You now possess the entire architectural framework required to fundamentally dominate the United States digital landscape. You fully understand the profound necessity of load-bearing content pillars, the mathematical precision required to balance the visual scheduling matrix, the brutal efficiency of the 4-day batching sprint, and the psychological nuance of native platform translation. You have built a closed-loop feedback system to mathematically guarantee continuous market improvement, and you have established the strict operational protocols required to scale your team without ever losing your unique, localized market voice. However, possessing the perfect, fully loaded digital machine does not guarantee immediate algorithmic velocity. A perfectly engineered high-performance vehicle will still completely stall if you do not execute the precise, sequential operations required to start the engine. When you finally prepare to push your brand new, heavily optimized content calendar live to the world for the very first time, the initial 30 days represent an incredibly fragile, high-stakes testing period. The platform machine learning models will ruthlessly and continuously scrutinize your new publishing behavior to determine your initial baseline market authority. If you stumble during this critical launch window, if you send conflicting data signals to the platform servers, or if you mismanage your initial engagement spikes, your entire beautifully constructed system will be instantly and permanently buried beneath millions of competing creators. What is the exact day-by-day tactical launch sequence you must meticulously execute during month 1 to hijack the algorithm's trust, trigger massive organic momentum, and ensure your new calendar launches with the explosive force of a seasoned industry veteran? To successfully navigate this fragile initial launch window and systematically capture the algorithm's trust, you must execute a highly specific, mathematically phased rollout known in elite agency circles as the algorithmic priming sequence. The most fundamental misunderstanding regarding modern social media platforms in the United States is the assumption that the machine learning models treat all content equally upon publication. They absolutely do not. When you drastically change your publishing behavior, implement a new 70-20-10 matrix, or launch a newly batched calendar from a dormant account, the platforms immediately place your digital profile into a highly restrictive probationary period, often referred to as the algorithmic sandbox. During this sandbox phase, the platform is actively protecting its user base from potential spam, irrelevant noise, and low-quality data. It will not distribute your meticulously crafted masterclasses to a massive audience right away, regardless of how perfect your lighting is or how brilliant your educational core pillars are. Instead, the system deploys your content to microscopic, tightly controlled testing cohorts to measure highly specific behavioral reactions. If you fail to generate the correct initial data signals from these small testing cohorts, the algorithm will permanently categorize your entire brand architecture as low value, completely suffocating your organic reach before your campaign even truly begins. Let us analyze the historical trends of this exact launch failure through a highly relevant case study right here in 2026. Consider a professional named Thomas, who operates a specialized corporate tax advisory firm in Dallas, Texas. Thomas spent 3 weeks flawlessly executing everything we have discussed. He built his foundational content pillars, he engineered his visual scheduling matrix, he ran a rigorous 4-day batching sprint, and he perfectly translated his dense financial data into native platform dialects. On the first of the month, his automated software pushed his very first high-value educational video live to the internet. Thomas confidently stepped away from his computer, drove to a client meeting, and assumed the machine would handle the rest. The potential outcomes of this passive launch strategy were devastating. Because Thomas utilized a third-party automated scheduling tool to publish the video and was not physically active on the platform when the content went live, the algorithm registered a massive disconnect. A video was uploaded, but the account creator was effectively a ghost. When the initial testing cohort of viewers asked highly technical questions in the comment section during the first 20 minutes, they were met with absolute silence. The algorithm monitored this lack of active community management, logged the slow response time, and instantly halted the video's distribution. Thomas built a $1 million digital engine but completely forgot to put the key in the ignition. To prevent this catastrophic operational failure, your month 1 launch sequence must heavily prioritize the first-hour engagement protocol. Automated scheduling software is an incredible tool for consistent distribution, but it is not a replacement for human presence during the absolute most critical window of a content's lifecycle. The platform machine learning models heavily weigh the velocity of engagement. They are measuring exactly how many high-friction actions occur within the first 60 minutes of publication. Therefore, if your master calendar dictates that a highly analytical green value post is going live at precisely 8 in the morning on a Tuesday, you must physically log into the native application at 7:55. The moment your automated software pushes that post live, you must be present on the battlefield. You must immediately engage with the first initial comments. You must pin the most thoughtful audience question to the top of the discussion thread to spark debate, and you must actively facilitate a high-level conversation. By physically demonstrating to the algorithm that you are a highly active, responsive authority figure rather than an automated bot dumping links into the void, you successfully force the system to push your content past the initial testing cohort and out into the broader macro audience. As you progress through the first 14 days of your algorithmic priming sequence, you must aggressively resist the psychological trap of early virality. Countless business owners become deeply discouraged if their first 2 weeks of heavily batched content do not immediately generate tens of thousands of views. However, historical data across the B2B and high-ticket B2C sectors actually indicates that going viral during your first 14 days is one of the most destructive things that can happen to a new content calendar. If a highly technical real estate staging tutorial accidentally gets pushed to a massive, generalized audience of teenagers because of a trending background track, your account will experience a massive spike in vanity metrics. But you have just permanently corrupted your algorithmic user profile. The machine learning model will observe that millions of teenagers watched your video, and it will begin aggressively serving all of your future, highly technical corporate content exclusively to that exact same unqualified demographic. Your lead generation pipeline will completely collapse because you trained the machine to hunt for the wrong customer. During month 1, your sole objective is absolute, uncompromising consistency to train the lookalike audience models correctly. You want a slow, methodical burn. You want 200 highly qualified corporate executives watching your videos, saving your posts, and sharing your insights in the dark social networks. You are actively feeding the platform precise, high-quality data sets so it can build an impenetrable psychological profile of your exact ideal client. By days 15 through 21, the platform will have successfully mapped your audience architecture. This is when the algorithmic breakout historically occurs. The machine learning models finally understand exactly who your content is built for, and they will begin systematically placing your highly polished, batched assets directly onto the screens of the exact regional consumers who possess the financial capacity to purchase your services. By executing this launch sequence with ruthless discipline, you complete the final necessary step in building a sustainable digital empire. You have transitioned from a chaotic, reactive content creator into a highly sophisticated, data-driven media operator. You possess the architectural foundation of the core pillars, the mathematical balance of the visual matrix, the extreme efficiency of the batching sprint, the hyper-localized protection of the brand voice codecs, and the tactical deployment strategy to manipulate the platform algorithms in your favor. Your calendar is no longer a source of daily anxiety. It is an invisible, fully automated sales force operating at scale across the entire United States market 24 hours a day. But having the perfect calendar system and perfectly optimized distribution mechanics exposes one final, terrifying reality about the modern digital attention economy. You have successfully forced the algorithm to put your video directly onto the mobile screen of your ideal, high-net-worth client. You have captured their attention for exactly 1.5 seconds. But if the physical editing structure of your video does not immediately trigger a profound psychological chemical reaction in their brain, they will simply swipe away, and your entire sophisticated calendar system collapses at the finish line. How do elite commercial editors legally manipulate the human dopamine system through specific auditory frequencies, micro-pacing adjustments, and visual pattern interrupts to physically force a viewer to watch a 20-minute corporate presentation without ever looking away? The exact psychological editing blueprints that separate standard business videos from hyper-addictive digital assets are completely hidden from the public, and that precise retention architecture is exactly what we have to dissect next.